Hello everybody, welcome to part 9 of my CD collection. This is the S's and the T's, so as you can see, not a lot. So yeah, we'll start off with Status Quo. So this one's the best of Status Quo, and this is especially the early years, so this has a lot of the early stuff on it. Pictures of Matchstick Men, Down the Dust Pipe, Ice in the Sun, Green Tambourine. I do love Status Quo. Status Quo they're an amazing band, especially the early stuff. I think the early stuff is really underrated. I mean, I love their 70s hard rock sound, but I love their late 60s psychedelic phase as well. You know, these just an amazing band. And I've got some more Status Quo. This is a twofer, so it's 2 albums. So it has Never Too Late and Back to Back, and yeah, they're both pretty good albums. These are actually 80s albums. Back to Never Too Late was 1981. I think, was it 81? Yeah, 1981. Back to Back was 1983. But yeah, they're pretty good albums. And this was called Classic Status Quo. So mainly 70s and 80s hits on here. They do a really good cover of Roadhouse Blues, which was the Doors song. And the Doors song is great, as we all know. We all love the Doors version, but the Status Quo version is also excellent. And I believe they did that as a tribute, because they covered it, I think, just after Jim Morrison died. So yeah, it was a tribute to Jim Morrison. This is a really cool collection. This is Now and Then. So this is a 3-disc collection of all their greatest hits. Doesn't cover the 60s era. It goes from the 70s all the way to the early 2000s. So yeah, it's 3 discs worth, spanning. Yeah, so it's 3 discs spanning their career, but it omits the 70s. The 60s stuff, but yeah, it goes from the 70s to the 2000s. So here's Volume 1. And there's Volume 2. And then Volume 3. Let's put them back in their box. And I've got one more Status Quo. This is Pictures. So this is a live album. So this was performed live at Montrix. Comes with a DVD as well, and it has the full concert. So yeah, brilliant. I do want to get some more Status Quo. I want to get their debut album from 1968. So yeah, and some of the 70s ones as well. So I do love Status Quo. And I have, this is the Small Faces Ultimate Collection. So 2 discs spanning their whole career. Small Faces are such an underrated band. So good, so brilliant. I love Steve Marriott. Dude had such a brilliant voice. Because he went on to do Humble Pie, but this was the band that he was in before Humble Pie. So many great songs. I think on here you actually get because they only made 3 albums in the 60s. On here you actually have their debut album in its entirety. I mean, it does include some of the songs from their 2nd and 3rd album, but you don't get them in their entirety. But you actually do get the debut album in its entirety on here. So yeah, I will get the 2nd album and the 3rd album, but I don't need to get the debut album because it's already, all the songs from that album, they're all here. You know, that album is already here in its entirety. And you get all the non-album A's and B sides on here as well. Well, the A sides at least. I don't think all the B sides are here, but yeah, it's a really good collection. You know, they released a lot of compilations, but I think this is their most concise anthology retrospect. And then I have Supertramp. So this one's called the Supertramp Anthology or Retrospectacle. And I do love a bit of Supertramp. 2 CDs spanning their career. And yeah, I do love Dreamer. I think Dreamer's a great song. Take the Long Way Home's pretty good as well. Yeah. And then I have the best of Sam Cooke. I do like a bit of Sam Cooke. Twisting the Night Away is probably my favourite song. Yeah. It's a good compilation there. And I have The Searchers, The Essential Collection. 2 CDs. I do love The Searchers. They're a great 60s Mersey beat group. So they're from Liverpool, so they're from the same place as the Beatles. And yeah, Sweets for My Sweet is a great song. Sugar and Spice is also great. Love Potion Number 9. Don't Throw Your Love Away. Just so many great songs. Needles and Pins. Money. They do a good version of Money. Unfortunately, Twist, because they did a cover of Twist and Shout as well. Apparently, yeah, unfortunately, that's not on here. But still a really concise collection of their music. And I've got some Simon and Garfunkel. So I've got Wednesday Morning 3 AM. This is their debut album. It's quite underrated actually. This actually didn't do well in the charts when it was first released. It wasn't until their second album, Sounds of Silence, which is what really put them out there. But it's still I still think this is a good album. And then I have Bridge Over Troubled Water, the last album they did before they split. And yeah, really good album. And I do have Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits. I think I might want to get all the albums because they only released 5 studio albums. So yeah, Sounds of Silence is one. There's the Bookends, and I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, I think I probably will want to get them all at some point. And I have, this one's 10 Years After, Undead. So this is a live album. This is the only album I have by 10 Years After. But I definitely will want to get some more 10 Years After. You know, they're a good band. Yeah, it's the expanded edition. So when this was originally released, it was just a live EP rather than a live album. But yeah, when they re-released it and then added some extra songs, and so yeah, it basically became an album. But yeah, it's really good. And I've got Tin Machine. So this was the supergroup that David Bowie was in during the late 80s. So this is Tin Machine 2. I don't have the first album. They only made 2 albums, Tin Machine and Tin Machine 2. But yeah, this is Tin Machine 2. I don't have the first album, but I will get that at some point. And yeah, it's a pretty good band. I mean, it's not as good as David Bowie's solo work, but it's because I think during the 80s, a lot of his solo records weren't doing too well. He just released Never Let Me Down, which was a flop. So he formed the Tin Machine group. And yeah, I must admit, I do like Tin Machine. I know a lot of people are not really into Tin Machine, but I think they're actually a pretty good band or super group. And last one I have, this is the Temptations at their very best. And I do like the Temptations. My Girl is such a great song. It never gets old. Just My Imagination. Ain't Too Proud to Beg, which those 2 songs were actually covered by, well, actually the Rolling Stones, because the Rolling Stones were huge. They're huge Temptations fans, so they've covered a few Temptations songs. But yeah. So that's the S's and the T's, and I hope you enjoyed. In the next video I don't think I have any U's in my collection, you know. It's like when you really start to have a look, you know. Yeah, there's no U's in my collection, I don't think. I have some I do have some V's and W's, so yeah, in the next video it'll be the V's and the W's. So stick around.